Hi everyone, today we have the BMW 7 Series on test for you. This particular model is the 730D.
Yeah, it's obviously a 3-litre turbocharged diesel. It's got 195 kilowatts and 620 torques, and 0 to 106.1, which is quite impressive for a car that weighs 1,700 kilos. This one, costs about 1.4 million before you start adding options, which you would do, and then can rack up to basically anything. Any number you can think of, you can pay for a BMW 7 Series.
He's not drifting his M4. Come on, Mr. M4.
That's embarrassing. You just showed an M4 how to drift. A 730D. So this is the interior of a 7 Series. I mean, the front is nice and everything, but this is where you really want to be at.
Yeah, this is the action.
Yeah. Safe to say it's fairly luxurious, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
so you're just messing around with some seat positions. You can like literally lie down, you know, have a nap.
yeah. I mean, the fact that they've got the, this nice cushioning on the back headrests.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Nice little suede job. Suede
Exactly.
pillow.
I mean, you've been driving the car around for a week now.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I was on the launch of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And one of the things they did emphasize was how important being in the back of this car is, not necessarily
Just
driving it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you think about all the technology that's inside it.
Largely quite gimmicky. Being able to control stuff from here is useful, I suppose, but you've also got this huge thing here which can probably do all the same stuff that this can do.
Effectively, you've almost got, you're saying everything's a bit gimmicky.
Yeah, so
but
everything is a bit gimmicky.
But the thing is, you have so much control, it's almost too much control.
Exactly.
You can interpret it that way. So these screens aren't touchscreen, but
No.
this one is.
Why
so
aren't these touchscreen?
you will spend half your time touching this, and then you realize actually in here
Is
there's
this remote control,
exactly,
which is unwieldy, really.
and there's only one remote for the back.
Correct.
So you've then
can't
got to
both-
switch between
Yeah,
these.
you've got to do this. No, you can.
Exactly,
I
which
explain.
is part of the car. I guess sort of get it, but
I don't. Why is this not touchscreen?
I don't know. Maybe this is what they already had.
Touchscreen.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense that this isn't touchscreen, and
Yeah.
there's certain aspects of these cars, this and the S-Class, I'm not excluding, like all these luxury
Yeah.
high-end vehicles, as I often feel they're a bit of a test bed for manufacturers.
Yes.
So they will think of absolutely every piece of technology they can possibly think of and chuck it in the 7 Series, the S-Class, and so forth.
Yeah.
Whether or not it maybe makes too much sense.
Yes, I'd probably agree with that. I kind of, actually, now thinking about this, I kind of get the need for this.
Yes.
If you're sitting here watching a movie, well, you're probably not watching a movie if you drive a 7 Series, you're probably like catching up on Bloomberg News or something. And then you suddenly decide, oh, actually, I want to close all my sun visors. You can do that. If some yobber is looking at you funny, you can mess with your seats and your interior lighting while you're still keeping up to date with the latest, I don't know, Google stock price or something.
Yeah, look, it's...
So that's probably quite useful. The gimmicky bits are like the gesture control for the radio, which doesn't quite work from the back, but is
It's okay from the driver's seat. It's not
Yeah.
brilliant from the passenger seat.
that's something you show your mates once.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well,
Things like the seats, fantastic.
yeah.
Some of the tech, I feel like these cars have now pushed into the let's throw everything we can possibly think.
Yeah.
Eventually, something will stick and it'll filter down through
Yes.
our other cars, and then we'll make money that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of my feelings on this. But
Coming back to the comfort aspect, this leather is not your standard
No.
standard 7 Series leather.
No, it's not.
Okay,
This is
so this is a different sort of level, because I think this is 120,000 rand to get this leather set up,
right.
which is not an insignificant amount of money. It's quite a lot. But is this better than the normal leather? I haven't experienced the normal leather.
I think it's actually nicer than normal leather. Just normal leather in general. It's simply because it's more
Supple.
It's more like supple and malleable. It just feels more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I would.
120 grand?
Well, if you're buying a 7 Series.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I don't think 1.4 million rand is that expensive.
No, considering how much you can spend on. You can buy a 320D for 750,000 rand if you want to.
Exactly, and
and that's their.
not half the car that this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I must admit, 1.4 million is not that much. Granted, you don't get this. I think you still get this. You don't get all the fancy driver
it's the
aids
entry level.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to expect to pay. I think on the launch, the ones that we were testing were about 1.7, 1.8 million.
Yeah,
depending on the
that's
spec.
about what this one is with this spec.
So you can look to pay that for all the nice bells and whistles, but you
Yeah.
can choose which ones you want and which you
Yeah,
don't.
exactly. I mean, some of the stuff you really do not need. The leather is quite nice. I'd probably
take
be
it.
quite tempted with the leather.
I'd take the leather.
Whether or not you need these screens,
Yeah,
I don't think so. The night vision camera thing is very nice to have,
I would have
and
that.
it works quite well. I don't know if I'd pay the money for it though. The 80 grand BMW sound system, no thanks. I think Harman Kardon's fine.
Yes, you see, I would save money on the sound system. I'd maybe get the infrared camera because I think that would be quite useful, quite nice, and would
Yeah.
work really well.
Yeah, it does work quite well.
So that's something I'd get.
What I
But-
couldn't find, actually, I think the heated and cooled seats is standard, but I couldn't find that on the spec
Okay.
sheet. So
But yeah, heated and cool seats
that's
you definitely,
that I would
definitely
get that,
want.
Yeah.
But
All the settings on your adaptive suspension, is that needed? It's a 7 Series. Do I need
Just
sport mode?
ultra
No.
comfort the whole
Yeah,
time.
just give me comfortable.
Should we go for a drive?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so we're going to start her up. Just fairly quiet. Just
I think
start
it's
up.
very quiet for a diesel.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is your first time ever in the back of a 7 Series.
it is indeed.
So it'll be interesting to hear your comments from behind the back, because as I said, I went on the launch and we got chauffeur driven at points,
Yeah.
and it was incredibly comfortable. I almost found the experience better in the back than in the front. Yes, I mean it's quite nice to drive. I like the steering wheel's maybe slightly bigger than I would prefer, but it's not overly so. You know, you can obviously, your seat is also super comfy up front, and having things like your heads-up display and so on is really nice.
That heads-up display is amazing. It's got everything on there.
It's so nice. I think heads-up displays are definitely the way forward.
Sorry, what mode are you in?
Comfort, I think.
Can you put it on Comfort Plus? So to push Comfort again?
Certainly so.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here.
Okay.
It's more comfortable at the front.
Seriously? You think so?
I think so. I'm getting a fair number of the sort of road imperfections translated into my back. This is why I was saying, the more I drive this, the less I like it. And it's because it's just not as comfortable as I thought it would be.
Is that because your standards, your expectations, should we say, have been set way too high?
Quite probably, and that's likely because we drove that Rolls Royce not too long ago.
I was going to say that Rolls Royce, okay, it's a lot more money. You're looking at least double the cash.
Yeah, probably more, 3 times almost.
But it is based on this car at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there are instances where, you know, the 7 Series feels unsettled over certain types of bumps and is translating too much through into the cabin. Now, I don't know if you can maybe dial some of that out with different, maybe smaller wheels or something.
How do you mean by unsettled, though? What do you mean by unsettled?
If you on a slight bend and you hit ripples in the road, the front end skirts across them in a sort of in a fashion that I don't think a 7 Series should do. You know, if I'm driving a Kia Picanto, you know, it's fair game. You know, the car's it's not going to handle that. But in a 7 Series, come on, they should be doing better.
Because you see, when actually driving it, I find it super smooth, and I sort of get what you mean by like that.
You see that?
And suddenly you get a rattle
happen.
through the cabin, yeah.
And it sort of jumped over that bump in not a nice fashion. Can I just say I've got acres of legroom?
Well, that's good.
I mean, my feet can only, like, if I really stretch out, then they're like under your seat.
Should we talk about the key?
Yeah, let's talk about the key. It's stupid.
You see, I like the key. Now, for those of you who don't know, the key is
It's wireless charging.
wireless charging, weird, futuristic.
Which actually, that docking station is probably one of the best features on the whole car, because it'll wirelessly charge your cell phone or the key.
Which is very nice. I'll grant you. But I like the key because it's something different. And yes, I'll grant you it's a bit of a gimmick, but it's kind of cool to know how much fuel you have and to be able to remote set the aircon and so forth. Like that's quite a cool feature.
Remote setting the aircon, fully agreed. That's quite cool. Could be done via an app on your cell phone.
It could be, but I don't know. I like having a super fancy key. It makes you feel like you have a super fancy car. It's something I feel that.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I don't think they've given you enough information on the key. If you're going to have a key like that, I want to be able to remotely open the doors. I want to be able to remotely open the windows. You know, I want to be able to start the car. I want to be able to set things other than just the climate control. Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but I think it's a good start, and I don't think they should drop it. I think they should add to it. I mean, you can also get the feature now that you can the remote park thing, which isn't self park. You can just like reverse the car remotely and things like that, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's quite a cool feature.
Yes, I agree with that. It's quite cool.
But I just feel that if you buy a special car, it should come with a special key. This car is all about luxury and technology, so it should be a hyper advanced thing from Star Trek.
Yeah, but it looks hyper advanced, it just isn't.
You're very down on the key.
I don't know, it's too big and not functional enough to warrant, you know, its size.
You're being bothered by people. Do you want to put up the blinds?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Just because you're that rich.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Be gone, peasant.
Those guys hate you now.
That's fine. What I think I do want to say is that I actually quite like the car. If you strip out all the gimmicky stuff, which I hope you don't have to pay for, there's a lot of nice features. You know, that whole surround protection thing that's on the dashboard there. You know, the one with the green light around the car.
Yeah.
You know, that's all quite cool. It's collision avoidance, and you know, if someone tries to sideswipe you, it'll get out the car will just get out the way. It'll brake for you. It'll make sure you don't hit pedestrians. You know, all that sort of stuff that rich people would normally just be doing. That'll prevent. It's got all that whole display for your climate control and stuff. All I really approve of. I like the way all the heated seats work, the cooled seats. It all is brilliant. The general dash layout, where the gear levers and all that stuff, again, great. But I don't need adaptive suspension. I bought a 7 Series because I want to be comfortable, and now you've given me a sport mode, and the car's not actually that comfortable when you're in comfort. So get rid of all that nonsense.
Okay, well, speaking
gesture
of
control, get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, we are about to go down a bumpy road.
Yes.
And we'll test it out there.
This
and
right
really
now is actually fairly comfortable. Okay.
That was a big bump.
That was a big bump. It's fairly comfortable. It's as I say, it's an odd series of bumps that will cause it to be unpleasant.
Yeah, it's like a certain setting.
So you probably find
haven't-
people in BMW have never ever encountered such a series of bumps because they've never been to South Africa in their lives, and we've got proudly South African roads. Yeah, so I suppose to an extent you can forgive it, but I don't know. I want my car to be. If I bought a 7 Series, I want to be more comfortable with it. Okay, right, everyone. So that was our thoughts on the 730D.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, like, subscribe, all that other good stuff.